Happy Monday afternoon. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back. So let's cover some news here. First off, let's discuss what's happening with the budget. I think that's an important piece to understand. I'm going to compare the budget to your car. Okay, your car needs 4 tires on it, installed on it to actually move and roll around. If you only had 1 tire, you couldn't drive your car. You couldn't go anywhere. That's what you're witnessing happening with the budget today. Their parliament did the second reading of only Article 12 on the budget. That only has to do with reimbursing Kurdistan for their transport costs with the oil. That has nothing to do with the budget schedules. All of the budget schedules were already amended. Then they are awaiting Parliament approval. Okay, which and basically that for them to approve the budget schedules, again, they finished amending them back on October 8th. But in order for Parliament to approve those, the rate needs to change first. So what I'm trying to let you know is what you're witnessing right now, the fact that they today did the second reading on only Article 12 of the budget. That's the same as having 1 tire on your car. It doesn't do Iraq any good. It's basically a useless, pointless step. Okay, Iraq, for the budget to work for Iraq, all of the budget amendments need to be approved, more than just Article 12. Like, basically all of the budget schedules need to be approved, okay? So let's go through some of these. The Coordination Framework issues several decisions, most notably amending the budget. So the Coordination Framework is saying, hey, they're basically saying the budget needs to be amended. It already is amended. What they need to do is they're basically in a roundabout way saying Parliament needs to approve all the amendments, is what they're saying here. It says, key decisions, budget law amendments. The framework agreed to amend the budget law. Again, it is amended. It's all the budget amendments are awaiting Parliament's approval. The support for Palestine, the framework renewed its call to a ceasefire in Gaza, and then other important points focusing on citizens, passing laws that benefit the Iraqi citizens, security readiness, and national unity. Here's another one for you. It says the Finance Committee of Parliament will host the financial officials and the chairman of the Finance Board papers on 3 issues. Cliff Notes. Meeting of the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee of the Iraqi Parliament held a meeting with officials from the Ministry of Finance and the chairman of the paid board. Key topics discussed. Budget schedule. It says budget schedule. It should be plural, saying budget schedules. Okay. Again, they're telling you themselves there's more to do with the budget than just Article 12, which is what they did the second reading on today. Okay. They're telling you the budget schedules need to get basically approved. The committee discussed the timeline for the upcoming budget, salaries for the Kurdistan regional employees. Hold on here. Okay, it says the committee discussed the timeline for the upcoming budget, salaries for the KRG employees, tax reform, and so forth on that. Meeting in Hakim's office, the coordination framework agrees to proceed with amendments. See right there, they used amendments plural, not singular. They're telling you there's more than one, meaning a lot more than just Article 12 that they did the second reading on today in Parliament. Okay. It says right here, budget law amendments, legislation for citizen impact, support for Palestine, security, military readiness, national unity. Okay. Let's go through all of today's news. So this is where it's going to get a little bit lengthy. We're going to go through quick. Ministry of Finance, we are committed to implementing the provisions of the 3-year budget. Okay. Implementation, the Ministry of Finance is committing to executing the Federal General Law number 13 of 23, focusing on justice and equality in financial allocations across Iraq, employee salaries, and categories funded. Compliance by Kurdistan, non-oil revenues, and spending violations, and so forth. Next article, central bank's policy is moving towards globalizing Iraqi banks. Globalization of Iraqi banks, again, having a tradable currency that's recognized around the world. Ending electronic platform dealings. Currency conversions, that means trading against other foreign currencies. Bank performance development. Capital, import and reinvestment. Role in development and employment. Next one here. Barzani in Baghdad, Kurdistan Democrats reveal the agenda of the visit. Timing and context of the visit. On January 12th, Barzani, president of the Kurdistan region, visited Baghdad amidst a backdrop of the Kurdistan regional government contemplating withdrawal from the political process due to financial disputes with the central government, particularly concerning the delay in salary payments for the Kurdistan employees, resolution of financial disputes, legal and constitutional framework. Okay, Iraq launches National Cybersecurity Center. Cybersecurity Center inauguration. Prime Minister Soudani officially opened the country's new cybersecurity center established under the Ministry of Interior. EY consults on restructuring of Iraqi state-owned banks. Meeting with EY, Iraqi Prime Minister Soudani met with representatives from Ernst & Young, a global professional services firm focused on state-owned banks, restructuring plans, technical and administrative reforms. See, Ernst & Young have everything to do with reforming Iraqi banks. That's why they're working together. That's a critical piece to the puzzle. Meeting in Hakim's office, the coordination framework agrees to proceed with amendments to the budget law. We did cover this. During a meeting in Baghdad, Barzani and al-Mashdani discussed ways to achieve commitments between the center and the region. On this one, focus on center-region relations. Primary focus of the meeting was to discuss and find solutions to the outstanding issues between the Iraqi center government and the Kurdistan regional government, fulfillment of commitments, pending issues, consultation, entitlements. Next article, we will build economic partnership. Soudani, before leaving for Britain, we will encourage more investments in oil and gas. Iraqi Prime Minister Soudani is in Britain to bolster Iraq's strategic partnership within the UK, focusing on infrastructure rehabilitation and energy sector development. So that's part of the reason. And then strategic partnership, symbolic importance, regional context, economic transformation, and the energy sector. Those investment and growth. Those are the reasons that he's going to UK or Britain right now. So website link, the Directorate of Passports and Residence announces the resumption of work on the electronic reservation system. It says here, the Directorate of Passports and Residence announced today, Monday, that the resumption of work on the electronic reservation system as of today, and published a link to the website who want to book and review. In response to an official invitation, al-Soudani heads an official delegation to Britain. We've covered that. Comment from MP Moin al-Kadhimi, $1 trillion controversy between Baghdad and Erbil, with hopes of easing it during Barzani's visit. So on this one, Speaker MP Moin al-Kadhimi, a member of the Finance Committee, following a meeting with the Minister of Finance, Taif Sami, on Saturday, discussing the financial performance of the previous year. Total expenditure was 156 trillion Iraq dinars, with 89 trillion dinars for salaries covering 4.2 million employees, 3.5 million retirees, and 5 million social welfare recipients. Non-oil revenues, the Kurdistan regional government transferred only 320 billion dinars to the federal government out of 4 trillion dinars expected, highlighting a significant revenue shortfall and non-compliance with agreements. Expectations from visits, resolution of financial disputes, oil and gas control, salary bill, budget surplus. Most of this pretty much gets resolved when they fully approve and implement the oil and gas law, just so you guys know. That's really the key step in all that. A strongly worded statement from the Kurdistan Regional Government on Baghdad, Kirkuk oil, and the referendum. So on this one, unfulfilled promise, the Iraqi constitution mandates a referendum in Kirkuk and disputed territories by 2007 to determine their status. Successive Iraqi governments have failed to hold the referendum. Unilateral seizure of resources. KRG alleges that the Iraqi government is now attempting to unilaterally seize control of oil and gas resources in these disputed areas, a move that KRG considers a violation of the Constitution, constitutional rights, violation of agreements, international action. Again, get that oil and gas law done and they'll resolve these matters. Erbil is not comfortable with the fiscal year Barzani and the change after the population census. New issues from Baghdad. Key issues discussed: disputed territories, issues related to disputed areas like Sinjar, Kirkuk, between the Kurdistan region and the Iraqi government were discussed. Budget shares. The recent population census is expected to impact the Kurdistan region's share of the Iraqi budget. Concerns were raised about Baghdad's delay in paying salaries to the Kurdistan region. Discussions included oil exports, crossings, revenue sharing, and import issues. Finance Committee of the Parliament will host financial officials and chairman of the Finance Board papers on 3 issues. We did cover this article at the beginning. Baghdad meeting coordination framework emphasizes 3 issues: budget amendments, security and readiness, support for Palestine, national unity, regular meetings. Hakim confirms Iraq's ability to defend itself and support the country's lasting stability. Focus on Iraqi stability, national unity, Iraqi defense capabilities, consolidating internal front, positive assessment. Al-Mashadani Barzani discuss outstanding political and economic administrative situation. Focus on center-region relations, fulfillment of commitments, pending issues, constitutional entitlements, and the Syrian situation. A lot of these articles definitely overlap. Coordination framework issues several decisions, most notably amending the budget. This one we did cover. Opposition coalition explains reasons for failure of parliament session. Conditional attendance, 3 laws in one basket. The opposition opposes voting on multiple laws as a single package, considering it undemocratic. Representative negligence, call for action, speaker's intervention. Jabber calls for the Speaker of the House and his deputies to take responsibility for ensuring the attendance of representatives. This one we've covered. This one's about coalition confirms support for financial and economic reform packages. On this one, the government program implementation, again, that's really the reforms, and the banking reforms. Financial and economic reforms, again, that's definitely banking. Kurdistan region salaries, foreign policy, regional issues, international engagement. We covered that. These literally look like the same article, but they're slightly different. Barzani and al-Samari stressed the implementation of constitutional justice in Iraq. Yeah, we've definitely covered this. They need to do and resolve all differences and matters according to the Constitution. During his meeting, Mashadani and Barzani call for amending the budget and ensuring dues. Yes, get the salaries paid and get the budget amendments approved by Parliament. Coordination Framework announces agreement to proceed with amendments to the budget law. We've covered that. There's today's foreign remittances. Parliamentary governmental meeting to discuss budget schedules. See, notice how they say budget schedules plural. That's because they're telling you there's a whole lot more than just one single amendment regarding the budget needing to be approved by Parliament. They're full on stating budget schedules because there's a ton of them. Okay, they need to put all the tires on the car. Let's look at, hold on here, publishes the full decisions of, there was a cabinet session today. I'm not sure why. Normally they have the cabinet sessions on Tuesday, so I'm not sure why they did it today. I don't think tomorrow's any kind of a holiday. Anyway, so everything's in here. It's all summarized for you guys with Cliff Notes. Coordination Framework meeting, focus on citizens' welfare. Budget law amendments, right there it says the framework agreed to amend the budget law to ensure the government effectively implements its service programs, plural, and promotes social justice. It even says budget law amendments, plural. Okay, more than one, more than just Article 12, which is what they did the second reading on today. Regional issues, security concerns, national unity, parliamentary stalemate. So, again, that's from a cabinet session today, which is Council of Ministers. Barzani renews his commitment at the end of his visit to Baghdad, justice for all components. In this one, it says, successful Baghdad visit. Barzani concluded his 2-day visit to Baghdad, where he met with various officials and party leaders. Commitment to justice and equality, strengthening Erbil-Baghdad relations, and focus on stability and prosperity. With the participation of the president of the Kurdistan region and the state administration coalition meets in Baghdad. In this one, state coalition held a meeting in Baghdad to address critical topics concerning Iraq and Kurdistan. Right here it says amendments to Article 12 of the federal budget, discussions on the oil and gas file, and the Cayenne pipeline. Okay. Federal budget amendment, that was discussed. The upcoming parliamentary elections, and statements from political representatives. Barzani and the change after the population census, we've covered that. Kurdistan Oil Company, a movement maturing under the dome of the Iraqi parliament. During his meeting with Mashadani, Barzani calls for amending the budget and ensuring their dues. We've definitely covered that. Parliamentary finance, banking reform enhances Iraq's global financial standing. In this one, banking reform, that's a critical piece. They need to get those done. A lot of the banking reforms, the critical ones, are actually waiting for the rate to change. Then they'll complete them because they need a tradable currency. Benefits of restructuring, Prime Minister's involvement, Rafran Bank restructuring. Electronic payment service will be temporarily suspended tomorrow. That has absolutely nothing to do with the rate change. Temporary service suspension. The Iraqi General Authority of Customs announced that the electronic payment system will be temporarily suspended for 2 hours on Monday the 13th. The suspension is necessary to allow the Central Bank of Iraq to make updates to its systems. That's all it is, software updates. Foreign Minister in New York to assume presidency of the G77 and China. This is an interesting one. Iraq officially assumes the presidency of the group of 77 in China for 2025. Very interesting. I wonder, I'm going to do a little back-end research on this to see if this group of nations has anything to do with trade. If it does, Iraq's going to absolutely need a tradable currency. So I'm going to review this to see what is done within this group of 77 in China. For 2025, this is a significant diplomatic achievement marking Iraq's increasing prominence on the global stage, right there. Marking Iraq's increasing prominence on the global stage. Iraq was elected to this position during the 48th annual meeting of the Group of United Nations headquarters in New York on September 27th of 24. And you know what's interesting? They never announced that. This happened clear back on September 27th of 24. And they waited till today, January 13th, to announce it. That is interesting. The Group of 77 in China is the largest coalition of developing nations within the United Nations advocating for collective and economic development interests. Fuad Hussein's role, Fuad Hussein, Iraqi Prime Minister, Iraqi Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs traveled to New York to the ceremony for marking Iraq's presidency, and so forth. So let me see. Let me see what these group of nations do real quick. Hold on, here's an AI window open. Let me see what. All right, let's see what the answer is. So I said, what does this group perform and work on together? So they promote collective economic interests. Okay, it says they work together to strengthen negotiating power of developing nations, countries on major international economic issues within the UN, enhancing joint negotiating capacity, addressing development concerns, proposing resolutions and decisions. So there definitely is some, I don't know if there's exact trade going on here, but there is some economic matters going on for sure. It says right there, negotiating power of developing countries on major international economic issues. So they might need a tradable currency this, but nonetheless, it's interesting how Iraq assumed this role and position clear back on September 27th of 24, and they waited till January 13th today to formally announce it. That's very interesting. And then today publishes the full decisions of the cabinet session. We definitely covered this. Showed you guys how they talked about banking reforms, amending the the previous one we looked at, talked about the budget amendments and so forth, banking reform. So yeah, a lot of key points coming forward. This rate change is getting very close. Iraq assumes chairmanship of G77 and China. Let's compare. This is similar to the one we covered. Let's see what this one says. Iraq Foreign Minister Fahd Hussein traveled to New York. Yep, that was back in September 27th of 24. The Group of 77 is a powerful bloc of developing countries within the UN. It aims to promote collective economic interests, strengthen negotiation power of its member states on the global economic issues. So it looks like it has a lot to do with economics and potentially trade. So I would say the main reason that they waited to announce this and they didn't announce it clear back on September 27th of last year, they waited till January, is probably because Iraq needs a tradable currency for this step. So very interesting on this. Finance Committee hosts finance officials and head Securities Commission. Key topics, budget tables, there you go. Salaries of KRG employees and tax reform. Barzani and the President of the Republic stressed the importance of resolving pending issues and salaries. Yeah, we've covered that. Coordination Framework announces agreement to move forward with amendments to the budget law. So yep, it's saying here that the Coordination Framework announces they've reached an agreement to move forward with amendments to the budget law. And again, the budget's already been amended. In order for Parliament to approve it, the rate has to change first. And that's why, notice how the budget has not even been sent to Parliament for review. The rate even has to change before that step will occur. Right now, the budget still remains with the Council of Ministers. Here we go. So Sudani, we aspire to seek UK as a strategic partner in our ambitious projects. It's because he went to Britain today. Tasks of the Directorate of Control of Non-Banking Financial Institutions. The Directorate's primary goal is to ensure the safety and stability of the Iraqi financial system by overseeing non-banking financial institutions, licensing, supervision, and control, focus on safety and efficiency. Parliamentary finance, banking reform enhances Iraq's global financial standing. This one we've covered. Civil Status and Passports Directorate announces the launch of the electronic reservation system. New electronic reservation system, improved service and delivery, initial implementation, online booking, and that's for passports and so forth. So, and again, in Parliament today, they did complete the second reading of Article 12 of the budget, and that's it. But again, all they did was put one tire on the car. Thank you for taking the time to join today, and have a great day. Take care.